Let's do a quick overview of what we've learned with jQuery. So we saw that we could submit data and we could retrieve it back from the server. And now let's just do one more thing. Let's update this H1 element with our response information coming back from the server. So whatever we enter in here, we want it to end up within this H1 element. So open up your editor and update your code in order to demonstrate placing that returned information, updating that H1 tag. And I'll show you the solution coming up. So the solution within jQuery, we know that we're able to console log that data, but let's do something with that returned data. So we'll grab that H1 and we can do the HTML of the H1. So we know that we're returning back this data and it is JSON data. So we can do data first name plus data last name, and that should give us all the information that we need. So data first name and concatenate it together. We'll leave a space there and then we'll do the same thing, the data last name. So let's try this out. And now whenever we refresh and we hit submit data, we see that our H1 gets updated. So go ahead and try this out for yourself and see what kinds of amazing things you can do with jQuery. And this one was fairly straightforward. We were just submitting the form. So this is jQuery's way of selecting elements and adding an event listener, so the submit event. And then we were formatting the data. So again, grabbing the field information and then console logging that data. And then we were posting that data over to the server. Earlier as well, we were looking at some of the shorthand methods for doing AJAX in jQuery, and we saw that in this one, we were grabbing the data from this API, from the SpaceX data API. What we were doing is whenever we clicked the button, then we would retrieve back the information from SpaceX, and then we were looping through that data and outputting it within our HTML. So let's do a quick overview of our code and how that worked. So we had our click me button, we added our event listener, grabbing the element, adding the event listener, and we included a function here. So whenever we clicked the button, we fired off the function, we grabbed the URL that we want to connect to, we did get JSON, and we created another function here for the output. So you could have done the function in here as well, but this looks a little bit cleaner. So again, this is optional how you want to present the data. So over here, we console log out that data just to make sure that we're getting it. Then we use jQuery's each iteration loop, and we go through all of the data, and we return back the keys and the values. And then we make use of the values because these are the objects. So we can just do flight number and details because this is all that object information. So we can get even more. And we saw within the API, there was some more data there as well that we could use and output. And then over here, we're simply outputting it into our HTML element. So next up, we are going to be looking at Axios, a lightweight JavaScript library that allows you to do AJAX calls really efficiently and easily using promises. So that's coming up.